Greetings, everyone. I am the Moon Mama. My aunt, don't mess with it, please, darling. Don't do it. How y'all doing? Happy Friday. Today is the day that Venus rules. And Venus is currently in Aries. Okay. For the past few days, I have been really hesitant to come in and share or to come in and teach or bring it's an interesting thing to watch inside of myself because I love this. Like I love doing this. I love sharing information. I love astrology. I love being alive at this time. Um, Tony Taylor 65, you want to be on the video with me? I love being alive right now. I think this is the most exciting time ever on the planet that humans have been alive. And so for me to be hesitant to come in is interesting. And the reason I feel like I've been hesitant is because I've been going through a deep, deep healing process around a shadow pattern. And it has been connected to the way I relate to the physical world, the way I relate to men, the way I relate to how I show up in my self expression based upon the external world. So, let me start by saying I'm the Moon Mama. Today is Venus Day, and Venus Day is the day that I ask for donations. This is about reciprocity. Everything in our planetary system is about reciprocity. What you give is what you get back, right? So I am giving the core of my wisdom is what I'm giving. And it's not my wisdom, it's divine wisdom. I don't own this stuff. That's why I don't hold it like I own it, because I don't own it. I have had the privilege to study, to learn. I've had the privilege to have a mind that can understand energy easily, effortlessly. And so I feel like it's my responsibility to share my information or the information that comes through me. I feel like it's my duty because this information is cosmic information. This information is key to my well-being, my health, for my families, and I happen to know that it's true for everyone. People don't always get it because we've been conditioned and programmed to believe things that are false. So I'm just here sharing truth. And it's a cosmic truth. It's not the only truth, but it's a cosmic truth from the planetary lens and perspective of how we are meant to function at this time on the planet as we are going from the dark ages into a golden age. And it looks very chaotic and insane right now, but when we do the work of following the nodes, we will open up the power within us. And so my point is today's a Venus day, so I would love for you to donate, right? So let me just get myself together. I feel like I'm all over the place. That's why I've been hesitating to come in, because I'm just sort of like here and there and here and there. So Venus is in Aries, and Venus is the day that I ask for donations. If you are benefiting from this work, if this work adds value to your life, if you are experiencing shifts and changes, if you are in an experience with this work that is supporting you, I would love for you to share how. I would love for you to say thank you. I would love for you to share what this information, how it's supporting you. And if you want to donate, you can donate money at my Cash App, which is $Monique Ruffin, or my Venmo, which is @Monique Ruffin, or my PayPal, which is Monique C as in cat. My middle name is Cassandra. Monique Cassandra, C for Cassandra, Ruffin, Ruffin @gmail.com. And that's for PayPal. And that can also be for Zelle, because Zelle has that. And if you want to send me something else, you can send me a private message and I'd be happy to I'd be happy to give you whatever you need in order to support the process. Okay, you all. So I was saying how I've been hesitant to come in, and I've been hesitant because I've been going through something that I've recognized a shadow in myself that I've lived with my entire life, and I'm not sure, I'm almost not sure how to be without it, honestly. And it shocked me. And I was sharing yesterday that I had this experience where I was feeling jealous. And jealousy is not something that's foreign to me because I grew up not having a lot of resources and not having money and feeling like being black was a curse. And so I was often in spaces where I felt like people were better off than me and I wanted something they had. I had to really understand what jealousy meant. Jealousy is jealousy is evidence that I am not accessing something within myself that I desire to. Jealousy is a frequency that says there's something that I desire that I see that someone else has, and I desire to access that too. And so when I stopped judging myself around it, because I was poor and I was in environments where people who were very smart, right? So I was poor, but I tested to go to the school with the smart rich kids. So I was there for free, right? Like I was there not paying anything, not that anybody, but I was there because of my aptitude, not because of my resource. And so I was smart, but I didn't have nice clothes. I didn't, my hair wasn't getting done. So I've experienced jealousy because I wanted to look the way other people, I wanted to feel cute. I wanted to feel smart. I wanted to feel safe. I wanted to feel valuable. I wanted to feel seen. I wanted when people looked at me that they would see something that they actually like. That was all the stuff that was going on inside of me around jealousy. So realizing that it was really at the core of this jealousy thing for me was neglect. It was neglect. And now, in this last month or so, I've been recognizing the parts of myself that I have neglected because I was conditioned to, because my grandmother would be like, well, we don't have enough money, or, you know, you shouldn't act that way in front of people because of this. Like the things that I had to neglect in myself. I had to neglect my true feelings. I had to neglect my deepest desires. I had to neglect, right, all of this. And seeing it and then seeing how I compromise myself, right? So yesterday, such a powerful thing. I was on Instagram and saw a video of somebody that I used to be very close to when I was like 19 years old in college, a man. And gosh, it's so interesting. He was in a fraternity, and when I went to college, I became aware of fraternities and sororities. And so when I came back to Los Angeles for the summer, I was at a party of this fraternity and I met him there. And he was like, he endeared himself to my family, and we were friends. And we would listen to music, and he would be over a lot, and he was older than me. Like if I was 19, the thing is he didn't tell his age. So I don't know exactly how old he was. But today when I look at him, he looks a lot older. Like he looks like he's like I'm 56 and he looks like he's 70 something. But he wouldn't tell his age. I did know he was older. So he was significantly he was a lot older than what he was saying he was. But he wasn't really saying. He was pretending to be younger. And so we were friends, and he used to say these things to me like, you know, you're only gonna be prime for men until you're like 25. Like he would say, and because I was so young, I just didn't really get it. And we weren't romantic, but he was always energetically trying to have sex with me. in a subtle way. And I was just very much like, no, like I just didn't want it. But we had fun, we danced, we sang, we had a really good time. He would be at my house with my family. It was interesting. And then when I was 21, we were still friends. My grandmother died, and I was at his house, and I was like, he had a very small apartment, and I was laying down on his sofa or something like that, and my grandmother had died, and I was crying, and he was soothing me. He was soothing me, and he was laying next to me and soothing me. I was crying, and he started to kiss me, and we had sex. And the sex lasted 1 minute. Literally, it lasted 1 minute. And I remember feeling like mortified, meaning he ejaculated really quickly, right? I remember being so like, because for years I had said no. For years it wasn't even what was, like, I really loved our friendship. And in this very vulnerable moment, my grandmother dies, I'm at his house, and he's, and I give in. I give in and I have sex with him, and it lasts 30 seconds, y'all. I'm telling you, it doesn't. And that changed our friendship forever. Like, we really stopped being friends. And I always was in my mind thinking, my voice in my mind was like, nigga, you've been trying to get it all these years, and then you get it and it lasts 30 seconds. Like, that was my thing. And about 5, 6 years ago, I ran into him again. And it was, like a, hey, how you been? Da, 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 da. And where do you live? I'm gonna come out and hang out with you. And so I let him come over my house. And he was like, come sit next to me, sit on my lap, like doing all these things. And I remember saying to him, I'm a grown woman now. What the fuck are you doing? Like, stop this. Like, this is not okay. And we ended up talking, and then he left. But he tried to become somebody that was here a lot, and wanted to hang out. And I was just like, no, this is my sacred space. I'm not going to allow you into it. But that experience really showed me all the areas in my life where I compromised, where I didn't set strong boundaries for myself, where I didn't honor my internal direction. And when I did it, I lost power. I lost force. I lost integrity. I lost something that was really necessary for me, for because someone else was demanding from me, right? Like, so this morning, for instance, I'm doing my spiritual practice, and my cats went outside before I started doing my spiritual practice. And then while I'm in my spiritual practice, one of my cats is at the window just like wanting me to stop what I'm doing to let her in. And I'm noticing it. Like, are you gonna get off of your frequency? Are you going to surrender what you're doing to accommodate her? Or are you going to stay the course and have her wait for you? This shit is so subtle. This shit is so subtle, but it's a key experience of our power, our ability to have authority. It's like, are you devoted to yourself, or are you devoted to others' needs of you? Are you going to forego your own safety, security, well-being for the needs of others? And there was a time when I would have really been like a victim in an experience with a man, because I've been in a number of experiences where I have compromised myself and found myself having sex, being great, because I didn't set a boundary, right? And I used to blame the men, but now I understand the culture that we live in, which is predatory in itself. We live in a culture, the United States of America, the West, is a big amusement park for men to have their way. White men, particularly, not black men. It's a big amusement park where white men get to go and have their pick. They get to choose their reality, and it doesn't matter. You're in their story. We're in their brain. We are in the narrative of a white man's mind. The founding fathers, they created this constitution, and we have been born into it, and we go to school and we're taught the rules of engagement from the perspective of being the prey and not the predator. And as women, we're deeply that. As black women, we're deeply that. And we're taught to forego our power. So in situations where this man, and I've had several men in my life, are just steady enough and consistent enough to wear down my resolve, because my resolve has been conditioned to give over, ultimately I will surrender it and give it over even though it does harm to me, even though it is harmful to me. Now, the men, for the most part, they are a product of this reality also. Probably only white men understand that what the rules of the game really are. Black men don't, like, they are, or other brown men, they're at the effect of it also, and what they're doing is competing. Now, here's the thing about the sex piece. Biologically, men need sex like humans need food. So the fact that we have made this sex experience competitive and predatory is the thing that creates the ultimate experience of danger, because sex is something that is absolutely necessary for men and their well-being, their survival, and like connection. And because we have made it something that is rare or monogamous, like when you go look at cultures and indigenous cultures, you see that sex is just available, right? Like, so in African indigenous cultures, it's a communal sex because everyone understands that what sex does is it lowers the threat. It keeps people harmonized and connected and communal. If you there's a community of apes. I think they're called, oh, I can't think of the name of them right now. But they literally, it's a community run by women of apes, and the solution for everything, the solution for all disagreements is to have sex. Literally, if there's a fight, have sex. If there's, struggles, that have sex. Like literally everything, because what it does is it makes men less violent. That's what it does. It makes them less predatory. It makes the masculine energy, because it's not about men. It's about masculine energy and how masculine energy expresses. So what I'm saying is, there was a time when I would be like, oh, he raped me, or oh, I didn't say yes to that. But now I'm like, no, their brains are just functioning based upon the way our culture is set up, that automatically makes men unaware that their biology is forcing them into predatory ways of being, because there is a need for sex like a need for food. And that creates a mechanism of control for the higher ups. Like, am I making sense? Am I making sense, or what is what I'm saying just chaos? And what I've seen is the men who tend to be the healthiest emotionally and sexually are gay men, because they don't have the same rules of engagement. They can have sex freely. They're not holding hostage the thing that is necessary for their well-being. They let one another fuck and they will do it because it is primal. Sex is a primal need. It's also primal. I'm not saying that it's not primal for women, but it's primal in a different way for women. And now that I'm starting to really understand my power and how my power works. So I guess Z is the only person that really understands what I'm saying. Thank you, Z. I appreciate it. But Z and I have lived a long time and we understand, like we've been here long enough to get what, we've had the experiences of men enough to know that men will almost say anything and do anything to get sex. Everything they're doing is to get sex. Why? Because it is a biological function of their species. It's not because they're bad. It's not because they're predators. It's because it's a biological function. But because we have set the culture up in this way, it makes them predatory and it makes us the prey. And so I literally am like, oh, and so here's the thing. I've been asking myself, what am I doing with my own sexual energy? How am I using it? And so what I see is that I have subconsciously set myself up like, a little piece of cheese for a mouse. I have set myself up because that's the game for a little, and it's like, I'm going to give this cheese to the highest bidder and I'm going to act this way and I'm going to be coy and because my subconscious knows that men are vulnerable to that biological function. And I have that biological function in me, and it has conditioned itself to the cultural performative way of being. And I caught it when I was like, I'm jealous. Why am I experiencing jealousy? And then seeing that the jealousy was like, oh, there's neglect. Like I have a need that's been going unmet my whole life. Oh my God, my whole life. There's this neglect there. And okay, so what is that about? And understanding that my needs got hijacked early when I was a child because my parents were a prostitute and a pimp. And that energy in my household and in my body informed my sexual nature very early, which sent me on a tirade of having, this boy to that boy to that boy to that boy until I realized, oh, I'm doing something wrong. Like, it's important for us to understand the game that we are in. It's important for us to understand the game that we are in. And if you are a woman, you are the prey. If you are a Black person, you are the prey. We are prisoners of war in this reality here. And we are beginning to get the clarity to see it, but every area of our life has been made a game of war. Everything, our spirituality, our education, our food, everything in this system is about conquering the prey at every level. It's in the laws, it's in the Constitution, it's everywhere. Now it's our job to understand how we are participating in it, and how we can realign ourselves so that we are no longer functioning as the prey. I don't want to function as the predator either. I want out of the game. Like they're talking about Kendrick Lamar's performance and how it was a game. That's the game that he was showing you all. That's the game that we're all, as Black people especially, we are the prey. As Black women, we are even more so the prey. And we are the prey of everyone. Everyone is doing their best to extract our energy. Now, when you get it, you can begin to say, okay, I'm going to function in a different way. But the only way out is in. And when we follow the North Node, we will access heaven within us. And that's what this work is. I am here to teach you how, to show you. I'm not even really teaching you. I'm doing this work anyway. And because I'm doing it and I understand it, and I understand that it's an inside job, I don't want to get to heaven by myself. I mean, not that it's like that, really. It's really not. But it's no fun to do it by yourself. It's just no fun if everyone's not in on it with you who can access it. Everybody ain't ready, but everyone who's ready, that is what. So the nodes are currently at the 27th degree of Virgo, the south node. So the 27th degree is a Gemini degree. So what that means is we are doing the work to clear the narratives that we have previously held. We're letting go of the narratives at the depth of ourselves, because Virgo is the gut, the things that you believe in your gut. So for me, like, I have believed that I'm not safe around men. I have believed that one of the things that has been my deepest core wound is that the world is not what it says it is. Like, America says it's the land of the free and the home of the brave, but really what it is, it's the land of monsters and predators. And so it's advertised as one way, but it really is something else. And so you have to be in it to see that we're living in a propaganda machine. And that has created a lot of dissidence and stress in my system, that things aren't what they seem like they are. So it's really us doing the work today to, what are your narratives? What are the stories that you have been telling yourself that keep you trapped, that keep you locked in patterns that don't serve you? And the moon is in Virgo. And so with the moon in Virgo for until 3 o'clock this morning, Pacific Standard Time, the moon in Virgo is allowing us to release what doesn't serve us and keep what does. Like, so what serves? So I am releasing the story that men are predators, and I'm going to keep the story that we live in a culture that creates these experiences that force people into these ways of being that are very animalistic and low level, because the culture demands it. It's like we're taught it in school. We're taught it in church. It's taught everywhere. Nobody's teaching you how to live a holy, enlightened life. And unless it's confined in this religious ideas of Christian, right? There is holiness and sacredness without these organized religions. You don't need all of that to be aligned to your integrity and your divinity. That's another way of hijacking it. So what story stays and what story goes. And then the North Node in Pisces, which is opposing this moon today, is your imagination. What world do you imagine? Where do you imagine? If it could be the way you wanted it to be, if you could have your most aligned experience, what would that look like for you? So for me, I know that I would understand the reality that I'm in and function, that I would function in alignment with what I know to be true for the cosmos, that I use my imagination, seeing things the way I want them to be. I envision the world that I desire to see from within me, knowing that me being it is the expression of it. The more that I'm it, the more that it will anchor itself through my psyche, through my choices, through my mind, through my ways of being, and it will come into existence. It's like getting pregnant and having a baby. That's it. It's literally like, the more I say yes to the world that I know that is true, that is real, and no to the world that I know that is false, it will impregnate me with the frequency, and that frequency can only express. And I do the rituals and the practices, whatever I need to do to keep myself focused in what I know to be the truth. And that's what we're up to, y'all. That is what we're up to. We're up to transforming the world from the inside out. We're up to being the change that we want to see. And it starts with the story you're telling yourself. And the story that you're telling yourself informs your feelings, which will inform your behaviors, which will inform how you show up in the world. And in order to transmute it with the South Node and North Node, you have to go in. The way out is in. The way up is down. Everything is, this is the portal. This is it. There is nothing else. Everything in the 3D world is stuff that has come from inside of a human being. There is nothing out there that wasn't created from within. So within is the only way to your own joy, freedom, power, magnificence, peace, harmony, love inside of you. And when you give yourself what you deeply need and desire, you got to figure out what that is. What is it that you deeply need and desire? When you give it to yourself, the world outside will mirror it back to you. So when you love yourself unconditionally, the world outside will mirror unconditional love and acceptance to you. That is the law. That is the law. It cannot be different. It is only, that's how it works, right? So today with the moon in Virgo, today is my second day of fasting. I fast when the moon is in Virgo because that is where my sun sign is. And when we fast, when the moon is where your sun sign is, you activate the oil in the pineal gland, the Christos oil that travels up the spine to the pineal gland and back down, and you activate the Christ consciousness within you. This is how you do it. This is how you do it. This is the stuff they didn't teach us in church, y'all. I don't really like my hair that much right now. It sort of got steamed out. But yes, this is the stuff they didn't teach us in church. They told us to believe in Christ, but they didn't tell you how to access Christ. And you access Christ by going inside and doing the practices. And you, how do we bring our masculine energy into work as women? That's unique for every human being. So for me, that's why I work with the natal charts, so you can understand what your own masculine energy is like. Everybody's masculine energy is different. So I'll talk about mine. My masculine energy is very secondary in my life, and I've had to really learn how to be with it because I have a Pisces rising, that's feminine. I have the sun in Virgo, that's feminine. And I have a Gemini moon. Gemini is masculine, but the moon is feminine. So all my big three are mostly feminine dominant, meaning internal. The masculine is the external. So I have Saturn in Aries, that's masculine. I have Mercury and Venus in Libra, that is also masculine. So my masculine energy, Saturn in Aries, means that I have to really, Saturn means delays and restrictions. So I have had to master my feminine energy before I could even have access to my masculine energy. It has been grueling. It has been a very intense experience. Also, you're a Cancer sun with a Cancer rising. So that means that your sun might be in the 12th house. So you have to really master your subconscious. And once you master your subconscious, in your development of mastering your subconscious and your emotions, your ability to feel and allow yourself to feel, your masculine energy will express correctly. But you have to be able to feel. Cancer rising, that's about feelings. It's all about emotion. And literally, so it's like riding the waves of emotion, like a surfer. Oh, this is coming up and I'm going to right? You're going to ride the waves of your emotions. And that Aries energy is usually very reactive. The Aries moon is like immediate. Like, oh, I had an experience with an Aries the other day. I was going to pick up my son to take him to school in the morning time. And I went to pick him up from his Lala's house. And she has a roommate who was also very active in my son's life. She's like my son's best friend. And she's an Aries. She's like 70 years old. And when I got there, she had an attitude with me. And I was like, oh, she was pissy with me. Like I didn't do something she wanted me to do. And so typically, so like I was smiling and she was just being really curt and short. And so I got my son and I felt it and I was like, okay, whatever. And then I felt it a few times, like, cause I was thinking about it and I was like, what was that? And I heard myself say, let it go. But in the past, I would have ruminated on that. Why was she being mean? What did I, and I literally let it go. By the end of the day, she texted me and she was like, oh, I saw that you called. I didn't realize that you called, and so she was basically apologizing for being so snotty with me. But she's an Aries. So because I understand astrology, I was clear, like she's just doing her Aries shit. She thinks something because she hasn't taken the time to get clear about what it is. So 7 o'clock at night, she's texting me going, I'm sorry. People are intimidated by your strength because you are intimidated by your strength, honey. Ain't nobody intimidated by you but you. Okay? So don't be putting that on nobody else. That's bullshit. That's irresponsible. You don't know how to manage your strength. So you're creating an environment where people might not feel safe around you because you don't know how to manage your strength. You don't It's you, it's not them, it's never them, it's always you. Just for clarity. Okay. Does that make sense, Sophia? I really hope that you heard me. I hope that you're still here and you heard me because when we start saying things about other people, that's a projection. That's a projection and a false experience. So I hope you get this because that will create a lot of trouble in your life if you are saying that people are intimidated by your strength. In that statement, I hear arrogance and irresponsibility. So, okay, I don't know if you got it or not, but I hope so. So with that, you all have a really beautiful day. Thank you in advance for your donations. Again, you can donate at my Cash App. And I really appreciate the donations. I really, because it allows, I know that the work that I'm doing here is revolutionary and you're not going to get it anywhere else with no paywall. Like this work is worth your blood. You won't get it anywhere else, at not for free at all. And even the value is life changing. I guarantee you, if you do this work, your life will be different and you'll be like, that bitch was right. I guarantee you. Yes, I'm glad you said it. It started when I was 3 years old and my family. Yes, exactly. Woo, that's so good. I'm so grateful that you got that. I'm so grateful that you got that because that is going to change everything for you. That is going to change everything for you. Hallelujah. All right, y'all. I love you guys so very much. Yes, it is. You revolutionary for such a time as this. So thank you for your donations. Cash App, $ Monique Ruffin, Venmo, @Monique hyphen Ruffin, PayPal, Monique C. Ruffin for Cassandra, Monique Cassandra Ruffin @gmail.com. And if you want to send me Zelle, send me a message and I will send you my telephone number. I love you guys very, very much. All right. Peace and blessings. Bye bye.